Hello, beauties. Welcome. If it's been a while since you've seen me, it's partly because I have not done recordings in a while. I've been doing some lives, something called the Daily Tap. So if you hit that link on this channel, you'll see some of that. There's really some cool things happening there because it's about affirmational tapping. And it's just to give you that moment of calm in your day. So anytime you feel like you really just need to drop down out of your busy brain, go hit one of those or tune in with me. At the moment, I'm doing them on a regular basis, attempting to be there every day. Sometimes I'm in other classes or meetings, recording other things, or I'm traveling. But whenever I can, on weekdays, I do that little thing. And it's really pretty cool because it's the emotional freedom technique tapping, which, if you're aware of me and what I do, that's my primary modality when I'm teaching and coaching. There's so much more than that, but that is a big part of it. And we're using that with an affirmation inspired by oracle cards. I studied with Oracle School a few years ago, mainly to, I don't know, help myself understand it because I was fascinated and I would buy the decks and kind of play with them because I love the artwork and I always loved the messages that came through. And then I learned more and more that when you are using what's called divination, like an oracle card or essential oils, crystals, you name it, there are so many ways, even praying, rosary beads, things like that. There are many ways to connect with your higher self, your soul, and to gain the inspiration and intuitive hits from your spiritual guides and all of the universe that comes together to help you. And the more you work with an oracle deck or a pendulum, like I do, the more it connects with you personally and the more in focus it becomes. Anyway, I digress because I want you to just know that that's there. And for the time being, I'm going to continue doing them and we'll see where that leads. I call it tapping into calm. And it's based on something called the Daily Tap. And just go there and experience it. You don't even have to know how to do tapping because you just follow me and it's really very easy. But I'm here today to talk about just coming back on a regular basis here with longer videos to help share the things that have helped me in my life so that you can have that opportunity as well. And this is the whole focus of what I'm doing. I'm definitely passionate about sharing things that can help you transform your life like they have mine. So you may hear me talk about my book, which you see behind me there, The Woo Woo Way, which is a really cool way to discover the inner energy system that you have, that everyone has, and how to work with it. And I wrote it in a way that can help explain it to anyone and help you understand it. But it flows mostly through personal stories of my own and stories from clients. And I put them in what I call witness protection so no one can look them up and figure out who they are. There's one person who didn't need to change. She thought it was fine to be there. But most of all the others are. And it's changed just enough so that they are protected. They might see their story and recognize it, but I actually changed so much, they might not even recognize their own. So, in that book, you will see a progression from feeling safe within your first level energy system called the root chakra and going all the way up through as if you are renovating a house. Only this time it's the internal house of you. And the root is represented by the foundation of the house. And the basement is the second chakra or sacral chakra, that place where we store everything, all of our wants and needs and desires, along with all the negative things we don't even want to look at. But those emotions that tend to have us spinning in our thoughts a lot, that's where we stack them all, and they're all mixed up together. And it's really hard to see that we have left behind a lot of those needs and desires. And I show you how to look at that and to bring that back online, and to look at those parts of you that you really don't want to in a very safe way. And you progress up through the house with each chakra, with each story, life story. From mine, it might be from my childhood or my late husband and I in our first house, all sorts of things. And you will go all the way through the primary 7 chakras. After I wrote it, I learned there was a forgotten chakra. There are many more than 7, but there's one within that line of our internal system that run up and down our spine that I didn't even realize was there until later. And it's right between the heart chakra and the throat chakra, the green and the blue. And of course, it's blue green. And so any shade from aqua to turquoise and in between teal, that is that chakra that's known for speaking your truth, and particularly speaking your truth to the world, which is what I'm dedicated to now, to help you do the same. Now, most of the things that I'm going to be talking about, well, I shouldn't say most, I should say them all, are the things that I discovered that helped me in moments of extreme turmoil, when I thought the world was going to fall down around me, and also just keep my sanity, to be able to keep my thoughts clear enough to focus and make decisions. Because what happens when you feel yourself spinning in thought, and you hear that thought over and over again, and you're worried about something that's happened in the past, whether it just happened or yesterday or years ago, or you're worried about the future, like in the next hour or tomorrow or as far up as you want to say, we are not in the present moment. And our mind is just spinning on all of those things. You know, what if I coulda, woulda, shoulda, all of those things are there when we can tap in by using the emotional freedom technique and other things that I can show you. We drop down out of that busy brain. When we're in that sort of spin, all of our energy rushes out to our extremities to help us fight or run or hide, the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which is people pleasing, all those things. It's how we protect ourselves. And I get into that a lot as well, because the big secret is all of those things that we do are there primarily as protection. And we learn them when we were very, very young, sometimes even in the womb. And I specialize in that very thing. And it's the inner child, the shadow. And I like to call it the shadow child. There's so much there. Oh my gosh, we could go on forever about that. I'm just beginning my second book. I'm in quasi third chapter, and it's a memoir slash self-help, and it's a lot about that shadow child. How I discovered that throughout life, I was living through that shadow side of me, and most of us do. We're just not wise enough to know how else to survive in our life and how to get through. So we'll be talking a lot about that. And here's the thing. I spent probably from the age of 29-ish, 30, which is when most of us start to look at personal development and helping ourselves. And I spent many years learning more and more and more, studying with people, listening to back then they were cassette tapes and then CDs. Now everything's online and streaming. but attending the seminars live, going at webinars, doing all of that stuff, discovering things like Hay House and Nightingale Conant to build myself. Originally, that was for my career. I had left the medical field to be a hairdresser, and I spent over 4 decades behind the chair with my arms in the air and a smile on my face, doing what I absolutely loved with people I loved, for people I loved, and I could have stayed forever because I'm in really pretty good shape and I can do that. But I realized there was more that I wanted to do, that I wanted to share. So come along with me for some of those stories. I will occasionally talk about the inside the salon things and see how you might resonate with that. Every now and then, someone reaches out to me for advice on hair and makeup and all that sort of stuff. So that's there too, but mostly it's the inner work to help you discover your inner power, or what I would like to say is reclaim it, because it's always been there. It's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, it's always been in you. You can always go home. And I want you to see that you can come home to you in very simple ways. My purpose is to help you feel safe and comfortable as we talk about these things, as I teach you these things. I sat down one day and realized that all this work I've been doing on myself, I was still internally in turmoil because I was living that, secret little lie that everything was perfect. And I don't want to say perfect really because I was a normal human being, right? I wasn't trying to be all that. But in my work and my, public life, things looked beautiful. And I was extremely successful and had a really pretty good life. But inside and at home, there was a lot going on. And I want to share that with you because when all of that kept going and I didn't have the inner strength to deal with it, to confront it, to change it, I was afraid. I was truly full of anxiety and fear and self doubt, which people who come to me, that's where they are a lot of times. So, whether you're dealing with your health and perhaps weight issues, or it's around finances and money, or all around relationships or anything like that, that's what I'm here to help you with and to show you. And as I started to say, I sat down one day and I did sort of a mind map, which was just in pencil on paper, and I can't find it, so I must need to do that again. But I wanted to tell you that when I did that, and I said, I'm just going to look at where I can help people and all the things I've studied and I've learned in this coaching world, because I'm an education junkie and I started to train in one aspect and then I discovered another and another, and I kept going, not to pile up the certifications, but to be able to offer you more, offer all my clients more. So I started that mind map and I realized, well, first of all, in the center is personal power. So we will talk about that, how you can reclaim that beauty that's always there, that power that you have to regulate your emotions, to heal your mind, your body, your soul, to allow so much of that to come through, to connect with spirit in a beautiful way. So, spoking off of that center personal power was the first thing that I studied and certified in is called tapping into wealth. And when I started that, very quickly, I realized it's not about the money. It's about my early paradigm around money, my belief, whether I deserved to be that way. And we all have this. If you were raised with, well, people like us can't do that, or, depending on how you were exposed to money and finances and management. One of the ladies I was working with said she'd never seen her parents or anybody around her deal with money. They did that when she was off to bed or something. So she didn't know how to do it herself. So there are different ways. Sometimes when we looked at that, the parents were arguing or feeling sad that they didn't have everything they needed. There's just so much there. And when you do it in a safe way and look at your life as an observer, you are not re-experiencing, you're not re-traumatizing, you're observing and looking at the circumstances, and you get these divine aha moments, these downloads that tell you, oh wow, no wonder I have that belief, or I feel this way, or I did that back then. And that's true in other things. So that was one of them. And in the middle of that, I started the intuitive chakra mastery, which is a lot about what I wrote about in the book, and but also many of my clients, I've taken them through it and helped them open up to what's been stuffed down and stored in their body. And yes, it is a subconscious thing that's happening. And our inner energy system with the energy centers called chakras are storing all of that. And right there at the chakra, maybe next to it, is that shadow. And what happens there, and if I talk about shadow, that comes from early on in psychology, originally called the ego. Carl Jung called it the shadow. Some of the other people in this industry have renamed it. So there is the inner child and the inner critic. They're all part of the shadow parts of us. Um, Colette Baron Reed works in metaphysics and mythology, and she talks about that little part of us that's sort of like the ogre, or the instead of having a beautiful statue in your garden that might be a gnome that stays above the earth, she talks about them underneath that carry all their baggage. And so it could be that gremlin, right? That's underneath there. Um, the woman I studied with for tapping for weight loss her name is Brittany Watkins. She calls it the echo. We have that echo of the voice, of the decisions we made. When we were young, many of us were told that we were not what our parents expected, particularly probably our mothers. Maybe we weighed too much or weighed too little, and we got all this information around food, or that people in Africa were starving and we needed to eat our food because we had food, right? There's so much there. Anyway, I digress. Talking about those parts of us, sometimes we just call it parts work. It's that thing where you want to do one thing, but you also want to do another. Part of me wants to go here to that exhibit, to that party, to that gathering. The other part of me wants to stay home, wants to watch movies, wants to do some work, right? So that's where those parts things come in. I have a lot of information and exercises around that. So bear with me as I'm just going to come in and do that. So around that wheel, I cannot tell you how many different things that I have studied and processes I have to share with you and show you. Some of them I already have on this channel, and if you go back, you'll find some of them, but I'm going to come back to them again because there's so much there. There are several sets of exercises and processes that you can do for empathy overload. Now, some of us are empaths that really feel everything. My life partner, the man I live with, is a true empath. He feels everything. And if my energy in my voice is off, he feels it. And he feels the world, all the things going on in our climate, our politics, and everything else, he feels. And it's really hard. He has to ask himself, is this mine? And work with that in many different ways. But many of us take on a lot of what's going on in our private lives, our personal lives, our professional lives, and in the world. So there are things we can do that can calm that down right away. There are wonderful exercises around getting a good night's sleep. And of course, I add tapping to almost everything because it's the fastest way that I have found to deal with that, and including things like EMDR. Tapping, the emotional freedom technique, can help you immensely. Um, I have really specialized in so much of that kind of thing, but I have droves of tapping for pain or for illness. When you have a debilitative disease or illness, and there's also pain involved, if you have that emotion running underneath it, it's going to increase that pain. So I've been able to help people um, move through that and show them ways where they can do it themselves. And that's what I love about tapping, because all you need are your fingertips. And we call it tapping because we tap on specific spots on our face and upper body. So there's like under the arm and the top of the head, side of the hand. There's also fingertip tapping, which I love to teach children because they can do that in school. There are many ways that you can do it, and I'll come to you in different aspects to share with you. And I don't care what the topic is, there is a way for me to share things to you that you can use either with me on one of these videos, in a replay, or on your own. So I encourage you to stay here with me, to come back. And I don't like to beg for likes and shares and subscriptions, etc. It does help the algorithm, so you will see it more. But one of the ways that you can always see it is to subscribe, because you'll see that come up. You'll have your whole list of subscriptions and you can check in. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll get that notification. And if you find it where it resonates for you and you find there might be someone else who can benefit, then in all fairness to me sharing this with you, go ahead and share it with someone else. So again, thank you. And I will be back. I'm going to get myself organized a little bit and see what it is I want to share first. But I think I'm just going to every day, whatever topic is coming up. The other thing before I close, and I will have links here always in the description and possibly in the first comment, but I want you to know there are many ways to connect with me, of course. Come to my website, sandyevenson.com. Subscribe here. This is where I've decided I'm going to be more often. This is the place. I don't want to rely on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all those places. I do have Substack where I have a newsletter, and even there they are now, they have live where it connects with YouTube. So we might be doing that as well. I'm writing my second book, and I'm going to dedicate most of my writing to that. So the newsletter has sort of staggered from once a week to randomly, occasionally every couple of weeks or so. And the thing I wanted to really share with you, and I'll have that link, is something called the Awaken Hope Show. And I'm co hosting. Now we're recording 2 to 3 times a week for her show, Candy Campbell, the Awaken Hope Show. It's on the Brushwood Network, but it's broadcasted through Apple and everywhere else. So you will see that. And we are doing a call in show soon, a book club soon. We have a tapping show every Saturday evening, and of course, there's replays. And in the Saturday mornings, there is more of a talk show with the two of us, bringing up topics and sharing how to get through this stuff. This month, right now, it's all around Mother's Day. And in my life, it's on Mother's Day. We're going to be talking about a lot of those aspects. So I want you to share with me in the comments or reach out and DM me and email me through the websites, Sandy at sandyevenson.com. Reach out and tell me, what are you dealing with in your life right now? What are the things that keep you up at night or spin in your head while you're trying to cook dinner or deal with other things? Please share that with me, and I will be sure that you get something that will help you. Tell me if this resonates. I'm here for you. And as I sign off on the daily tap, I'd like you to know that you are loved. I so want you to know that part of it, but that I see your beauty. You are beauty, which is why I usually start my greeting with hello, beauty, because that's you. My tagline for all those 4 decades in hair was beauty from the inside out. It was the effort that I made to make sure that everyone felt really good from the inside when they got their outside exterior feeling good to them. I had to embrace my wacky hair. You will see it different all the time, but I want you to know that it's more now with the coaching. I saw that when I could transform someone externally, it changed them internally. And now I'm helping you with the internal stuff so you can feel good on beauty from the inside out. So know that I see your beauty. I see your light. Shine brightly and come on back again.